Good afternoon to everybody from LVPEI Institute for Vision Rehabilitation. We are so happy to have you all here. And we are hoping that this employer awareness program will meet the purpose of why it is being organized. To start off, I request Dr. Deva Jayaraman, a rehabilitation specialist, to please address the participants.
Thank you, Aishwarya, and very good afternoon to everybody who is present in the meeting. So we are very happy to invite you all for this program on behalf of LVPEI Institute, and Vision Rehabilitation is one of the 10 components of our institute. So in the year 2021, we rehabilitated 17,143 persons with vision impairment, and needless to say, nearly 1/5 of them are certainly in the employable age group. So every year we conduct employer awareness program twice to reach more number of employers to promote inclusions of persons with vision impairment in different like various kinds of industries. So we really feel proud about the impact created by our team in the past few years, and thank you all for your time and effort, and welcome you all once again. Hope you will enjoy this program, and you can ask queries related with placing the persons with vision impairment in your particular industry. So over to you, Aishwarya, and thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Devagaru. Thank you for that. I would like to take all the participants through what will happen in this employer awareness program. So we will have a presentation to start off. So this presentation will highlight the scenario of placement of people with visual impairment, after which we'll be playing a short video of employees with visual impairment, and it will be with an audio description, after which we'll have our esteemed panelists joining us for a panel discussion. So I'm sure we're going to have a wonderful time here. So stay tuned, and I will be actually presenting I'll be doing a presentation on placement of persons with visual impairment. Please hold on. I'm just sharing.
You have started meeting controls.
1 minute, please hold on.
Mail Aishwarya at your launch meeting Zoom. 2. What's Gmail inbox. My Drive Google. Mail Aishwarya at your launch meeting Oppo 5. 2. My Drive say DAFCON.
Oh, hold on.
Recording on this.
Vinay, can you please help me out?
Yeah, please. Just a moment.
Pause share. Stop share. You are docked security. Gmail inbox. Stop share. No.
Vinay.
Open participants panel. Aishwarya. Gmail. Drive. Untitled Google Chrome. Google Drive, Google Chrome, Google Drive. Button skip to main content. Untitled. Placement of persons. Placement of person. Slideshow. Sandoye has left the meeting alert. Place Sandoye. Meeting controls window.
Don't put it on slideshow. I need to do that.
Meeting controls window. Close. Graph. Placement of persons with vision impairment. Last edit was meeting controls window. Stop share.
Can you share your screen now? I just stop it.
No, Vinay, I need to do that URL. I need to do that edit.
So sorry, just hold on. Now you are in the URL node. Now do it.
Came?
Yes. Now you have to share it.
Just share, no, please.
You have started screen share alert. Hemant has placement of person. Meeting controls row 1. Participants can now see. Unmute my audio with Alt plus A.
I hope I'm audible.
Yes, ma'am. Aishwarya, your screen is visible also.
Audio now. Meeting controls. Placement of person. Placement. Placement of person. New share or muted. Security. Unmute. Audio
Are
now
you able
unmuted
to
alert.
hear me now? Sorry, there was.
Dinabantu has joined the meeting.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible, and the
Yeah.
screen is also visible.
Placement of person.
Okay, so 1 minute.
Graphic Institute Hyderabad. Placement of person.
So I would like to say that, like, when people come to us at Institute for Vision Rehabilitation, the first step is, their rehabilitation in every way, whatever way we can. We
Karthik
rehabilitate
K has
them
joined.
to be independent and
Speech mode off.
to move on with their lives. But the ultimate goal of rehabilitation is met only when they are when they find some placement opportunity. It is very important that they are employed and they are living as confident individuals who are contributing towards the society. So that is the ultimate goal of rehabilitation. And going on to my next slide, what is the pathway to be, what do we do at our institute to be to make them job ready? So the first thing is we do counseling, because counseling is the first stage. When they come to us, we don't they don't know how to go about it, because the first stage, then we get to know about their background. And also the second one thing is we do computer training, so that they are technologically, they are sound, and they can go about using computers, smartphones, assistive technology training and all. Then we also have them go through different classes like communication, spoken English classes, and personality development classes, so that many people, they come from different backgrounds. It could be both from rural, urban. So they need to understand the language that they use at workplaces, their behavior. So keeping this in mind, we provide spoken English and personality development classes. And last but not the least, daily living skills. Like supposing if somebody wants to go out, like, yeah, they may be qualified, they may have good communication skills, but what if they're not able to move around independently themselves? So that is when the daily living skills come in. Example is the mobility training, which is again very important for somebody to move around independently. And not only that, this moving around also gives others confidence. Oh, this person is able to do things himself or herself. So these are the important components, the pathways that make one job ready. Moving on to my next slide. I hope the slides are changing, Vinay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you. So moving on, starting with the counseling. So what happens when a patient when the patient is diagnosed with irreversible blindness at LV Prasad Eye Institute after the checkup? So they are sent to us. So the first stage is we need to counsel them, we need to understand, okay, this person has this issue. Then later on, understanding their background, their skills. Okay, the communication skills are like this, or they have good qualification. This is what we understand during the job counseling. And then we recommend whatever training that we have to give them. I move on to my next slide, which is about IT training. IT training is an important component of our services here, because during my years, I remember coming here as a patient myself in 2011, and being right here in Hyderabad, I didn't know that there are rehabilitation centers like this. And I thought I'll never be able to use computers. I thought, okay, this is the end. But when I came here, I realized that people like me who are visually impaired are able to use computers with ease. That was like, oh God, I can do things. So that gave me the boosting, the confidence that I needed to have. So IT training is likewise for everybody who comes here. We train. This is a monthly training program. It is supported by Tech Mahindra Foundation. It was started in 2011, and since then we keep training. It's a 3 months training course. So whatever training that we can give, we give through this personality development, daily living skill. It's a part of this training program. I'm moving on to my next slide, which is it consists of photographs. There are two pictures in it, and our
Ma'am,
IT
next
instructor.
one, ma'am.
Okay, sorry. Is
It's correct.
yeah, sorry. So I'm moving on to the next one. So there are two pictures in it. So in this we have IT trainer Mr. Mohan Kumar training our people here. So this is one. And how people with visual impairment, there are many questions, when we go out. I'm sure many of our visually impaired friends, how do you as a person who cannot see use computers? This is through assistive technology. If I could brief what it is. So assistive technology includes, especially for computers and smartphones, includes screen readers and screen magnifiers. These are softwares that talk to us and get our actions done. And likewise, the screen magnifier, it helps. It's a software that magnifies the screen. So so in the computer and even in the mobile phone, one can use this. So in our next slide, I am actually going to play.
Speech mode beeps. Speech mode
One
talk.
second.
All text title.
Uh,
Avani.
a video of my colleague Pavani using a screen reader.
Rajani has left the meeting.
So I think she could score number one in typing the fastest. So Pavani, I hope you heard me. Well, so here she used a screen reader software to type in, and I would go on to the next screen.
To enable screen reader support, press
So this is
Control plus slash.
1 second.
Clickable graphic slide 9 of 33.
This is my colleague. He's using a magnification on the screen. It's a picture, so he's using magnification of on the screen. So the window on the computer looks enlarged. And moving on to the next slide, here we have what all can we access using assistive technology. So it could be your simple MS Office,
179.
iOS applications. It could be anything, or even social media,
Joy
or if somebody wants to do programming. So these are the
Speech mode
things
off.
that people can access using this software. And nowadays people are getting into programming languages like Python and various other things, Tally. So there is no limit, as long as whoever is designing the program are keeping in their mind about accessibility, about making it accessible for people with visual impairment. So I think we are able to use maximum of applications. You may wonder what I'm talking about. Like example, I would like to mention this. Like earlier when Big Basket app was there, I remember using the my phone reader on the app. And what happened was, when there is that add and remove button, earlier it used to be read out as unlabeled button. So there's the product name, and below that unlabeled button, and there's a number, and that after that unlabeled button, another number. So I wouldn't understand what it is. And later in our community, many of us wrote to Big Basket and we said, hey, can you please change it for us? They considered our request, and then through that development team, they changed those unlabeled buttons, and today using our screen readers, they are read out as add and remove button. So this is just a short example, and like that there are many features on web and mobile and all that could be made accessible. I now move on to the next slide. I hope there are two pictures here. So this is like additional training. Like once the computer, during the computer training course, what we do is we give them personality development classes, spoken English classes. See, first of all, when they come here, we see that most of them, their confidence is low. they do not want to interact with people, or they're angry about why things had to happen. So all these things, this behavior, we try to get them out through personality development classes, in like motivating them, giving them activities like teamwork and marketing themselves. So this is what we focus on. And coming to the spoken English classes, of course, many may not you be privileged to have born in a family that are exposed to speaking in English. So when they come here, we see to that they are taught from basic English to advance, so that when they go out, they're able to talk well. I remember 2 3 of our clients, when they came here, they wouldn't talk at all, but after undergoing these classes, they are able to communicate well. And I remember one or two of them telling me, now I feel so I don't feel conscious about me not being able to interact. Even in broken English, I'm trying to interact and I'm learning. So that's the greatest achievement, because once when one person starts learning, they keep on learning throughout their life. I move to the next slide now. So besides the training that we provide at LV Prasad Eye Institute, we have also collaborated with other organizations to provide training to our clients. One of which is, the next slide is the Vision Aid training program. We have collaborated with Vision Aid, and under them we provide online training programs for our client, which include Python programming. So this I think this is the fourth batch of Python programming, and there's corporate skills development program. So obviously, as for somebody who's planning to seek a career in private company, corporate skills development program is very useful, because right from writing a simple email, or interaction with their teammates, or team building, group activities, these are taught in this corporate skills development program. Then you also have IBPS training program, and this is for those who are planning to crack a bank job. So, and last, like lately, computer training also has been added here. This is in our other campus in Vijayawada. So this is how Vision Aid and we have collaborated to provide training for them. And next is through Youth for Jobs. So Youth for Jobs, again, we provide government job coaching. So this is, again, it could be anything. It could be SSC or CGL, any UPSC, Public Service Commission jobs. So it could be any of them. And this is the second batch that is currently undergoing. And they have a rigorous training program, and giving them test papers to attend to. So this is how we provide training through Youth for Jobs. And where do people, I'm moving to the next slide, so where do people stand when it comes to public sector? So public sector, there are reservations in public sector. So many people, if you ask them, whoever comes to us, 80% of them are like, I want to get a public sector job. And the reason, one is that it is more secure, of course, but then they're like, because there is reservation, because I don't have to struggle looking for a job in private sector. So that is the answer we get from most of these people. And there are many facilities, like even when it comes to promotion, and anybody can be selected into group A, B, C, and D jobs, both in central and state public service commissions. So that is the reason why many people prefer government jobs to private sector jobs. So of course it is good that somebody, out of interest, they're doing it, but it should not be out of compulsion that they are choosing public sector jobs. I move on to my next slide, which is I'll be briefing on the private sectors, the subsectors that we have, the companies that we have recruited people into, and some of the designations that they are into. So Next slide is about the subsectors. So subsectors, there are many like IT, hospitality, then you have BPOs, MNCs, and education, healthcare. So these are the different sectors. But our question is, why is it only limited to this sector? Why don't we see a person, a visually impaired person working for a company, let's say a newspaper? Why is it, the sectors are very limited as of now, but compared to what it was a decade ago, the situation has improved. But we hope to see that the sectors in this private sectors for visually impaired could grow larger. I move on to the companies where we have placed our students with visual impairment. There are different companies that came forward. And initially, when our placement officer, Mr. Karupaya, used to approach them, some of them were, they were not sure how a person with visual impairment be able to work. So here, for my friends who are visually impaired, I would like to say the companies that are listed here are IBM, Microsoft, Apple, and Synchrony Financial, Essentia Info. So these are the companies. The next slide also consists of the list of the companies that are people, visually impaired people, have found jobs. And now I move on to the next two slides, which are the designations of these people. So it could be a data analyst, and process associate, outreach associate, and various other jobs, accessibility tester, programmer. These are the different types of jobs. Somebody could be a teacher, or somebody could be a counselor, instructors. So I go to the next slide. Let me just see.
Speech mode talk. Graphic counselors,
Yeah.
teachers and trainers, associate engineer, system and
I
placement
go
of graphic to move around independently. Graphic slide 22 of 33.
second.
Inability to do
Yeah.
paperwork.
So now coming to the misconceptions.
Speech mode off.
What are the misconceptions that people have when it comes to employing people with visual impairment? I'd like to take you back to my experience. When I lost my eyesight, I tried approaching few companies as a content writer. As soon as I didn't tell them that I'm visually impaired, but then I just happened to see their advertisement that they needed somebody who can write content. And when I wrote to them, they're like, oh, please do come down and we'll be happy to interview you and all that. And finally, when I went there, I told them that I'm visually impaired. And after which they said that they may not be able to take me because they don't have accommodations that may suit me. So these are, they think that maybe I may not be good at working with paper. Like, I would like to tell that, although we cannot see the paper, but I request the mute yourself. I request them, the backend team, can you please mute the other participant? Thank you. So inability to do paperwork, maybe see, there are the technology has developed so much that these days there is so many softwares are there. You can just take a picture and it reads out to you. There is OCR. You can just scan it and have it read by the screen reader or have it magnified. And inability to work on computers and smartphones. I'm telling you, like, some of my friends, they were telling that when they went out and when they were using smartphones, they were asked questions like, if you are visually impaired, how are you able to use smartphones? So these are the questions. So these are the misconceptions that they have, that people cannot use technology. And other things like, I've seen some people having apprehension about interacting with people. How do we interact with them? Is it, what do I say to them? They're little apprehensive, but the truth is, we also like to talk, we also like to interact. And if you have any questions about us, if you want to ask us, like whether how to address me, you can talk to us, and we'll be able to tell you, like, how, I mean, trust us, the conversation, if you click a conversation with us, it's going to be real fun, and it's going to be productive conversation. And many other things, like how will they move around themselves? See, LV Prasad Eye Institute is a 7-floored building, and I'm sure all my friends here from who are visually impaired are working in different corporate companies, and at least LV Prasad has one building, and I know friends who have, like, block A, block B, block C, block D, and they're able to move from one building to another building with ease. All they use is cane, and there are other assistive technology that helps them to move from one place to the other. And another question is, how do they commute, like, from one place to the other, whether it is bus, train, Uber, Ola, anywhere. Nowadays technology has become so good that we are able to use these facilities. And also there are apps that tell us that where we are and what is around. So these things help us to understand this, and we are able to commute to work without any hassle. And another doubt is, will they work on par with other people? Like, will they be able to do, do I have to compromise with this person? No, maybe I may not be able to give this work. I've known friends who are actually team leaders. They're visually impaired, but they're team leaders to sighted folks. I mean, I'm not saying this to put down anybody, but I'm just keeping sharing this as a matter of fact, that people who are visually impaired can be in leadership roles, can lead people. So it is not uh, a unique thing. And now I move on to my other slide. It's about barriers to employment. What are the barriers to employment? One is the employer mindset. Mr. Karupaya, placement officer, he could write compositions on this, because when he went and met many employers, the mindset is, no, I can't give employment to this person because they're visually impaired. I don't know, we don't have any openings now. So mindset itself is, we cannot give any job. We are not sure if they can perform this task. So there are several barriers like this to employing the visually impaired. Then accessible infrastructure. So we don't need much of, like, if I could throw light on this, accessible infrastructure is something like, example, if I come to a place, like, if you come to LV Prasad Institute, there are these tactile tiles that help us walk into the building, and there are railings. But trust me, even without it, there are people who are able to manage maybe large there could be installation of large print notice boards, just to guide them wherever they are. And nowadays there are these QR labels, as soon as you scan it, it's called Spacewell, as soon as you scan it, it will tell you, okay, this is this particular room. So like that, there are so much of technology that's helping us to understand the infrastructure. And unavailability of assistive applications, like if I want to use a screen reader, this has been a major complaint from my friends who are working in banking sector. They're like, hey, we got a bank job, but then we are just sitting there at the bank and we are not doing anything. So they just give us computer that is not accessible because they haven't installed screen reader software in that. Only when some clients come to us, that is when we talk to them and we give them the information. Other than that, out of the 8 hours of work, maybe I work like 2 hours. So why is it that people are not confident? Why aren't they given assistive technology? Assistive technology, there are so many resources that provide assistive technology, but it is still not given. So this is one of the major barriers. And also, in some companies, there are applications that are already made, but then what happens is these applications are not compatible with screen readers. So it's just a matter of redesigning them so that people with visual impairment are able to use it. I remember one recently I was talking with one company, and they had this CRM application, and they were like, the screen reader is not working with this particular CRM. So what do we do? How do we do? So from the back end, we told them that, this is how, you can ask your development team to make it accessible. These are the guidelines, and they did make it, and now they're able to use the screen readers with that particular application. So it is really heartening, like, when you see that some company are going beyond what they can offer to make to open doors for people with visual impairment. And I move on to the next slide. So as a resource hub, how can we help companies as a resource hub? So one is, we can give information on this assistive software. We can tell them, okay, this, any consultation regarding assistive software will be able to tell them. Or if any application is not accessible, we'll be able to help you all to direct you to the resources that makes these applications accessible. And moreover, any recommendations on infrastructure modification. Like, I remember one of the volunteers from Synchrony Financial, earlier she had asked, Ashwarya, we are going to make Synchrony Financial accessible. Could you give us some recommendations on how we can make our environment infrastructure, modify our infrastructure to suit people with visual impairment? So we had given them a list, and it was really nice that they are taking such steps to make the infrastructure accessible. So these are some things, and now I'd like to take you through some of our clients who have really achieved good in their particular in their who have achieved big in their jobs. So to start with, we have Mr. Anil Kumar. This is a slide. There's this picture here. His name is Anil Kumar Kompally. He is a public prosecutor, Central Bureau of Investigation, Anti-Corruption Bureau. So he began his journey here in 90s. He was 11 years old, and he underwent computer training. And since then, he's been availing audiobooks and ebooks. And today he has done his PhD. He is a public prosecutor, and moreover, he's also a faculty. Sometimes he comes down as a faculty in our workshops, and then he also helps our clients with any legal advice. And I move on to our next client here. His name is B. Vasant Kumar. He is a store supervisor at Reliance Fresh. Yeah. So Vasant is, when he came to us, he was like, he was very down. I mean, it was like, why do I need to have this problem? What is wrong with me? Why this has to happen with me? But then understanding his skills and qualification, a placement officer placed him at Reliance Fresh, and today is happily married. He has a kid, and there's no limit to his appreciation. People at his work really appreciate him, and they say that, we don't feel that we are working with visually, but they don't see him as a person with visual impairment. That's the beautiful part. And I move on to our next slide. His name is Banu Chandar, and he's working for DQ Systems as an accessibility tester. So Banu Chandar here also came as a trainee. He underwent computer training, and he really worked hard when it came to his communication classes. And today he's doing so well. I mean, I remember, like, last time when I had spoken to him, he was like, my boss really appreciated me. She's liking my work. So the happiness in his voice was very overwhelming. It was nice to see that he's doing well. And recently we got to know that he even got married, and we were like, oh, you didn't tell us that you got married. And then it's like he was shying away, and then it was nice to know that he's happy, he's settled, and he's doing well. And I move on to another slide. Her name is Padmini Palaparthi. She's a probationary officer at SBI. So she was one of the people who said, there's no, they don't give us assistive software, but somehow she managed to get the assistive software installed in her system. And she also teaches music. She is an excellent musician. She plays veena, and she's very happy with her life, that she's employed and she's really doing good. And next we have Surbhi Muggal. She's an accessibility tester at Wipro. So Surbhi came here as a patient, and she lost her eyesight due to brain fever. And in the beginning, she wouldn't talk to anyone, she wouldn't interact with anyone, but slowly she started, opening up, interacting with everyone. And then she got a job as an accessibility tester. And I remember she also won a beauty pageant called Princess India. She was one of the runners up. And later on, she went to marry, and now she has a beautiful child. So she's also doing very happy. And then we have here Vijendan Murthy. He is process associate at Synchrony Financial. And when he came, he thought nothing can be done in his life. Like, there's no way he will get a job. But he did get a job in Synchrony Financial and is happy working there. And his dream was, I want to buy a house for my parents. And he did buy a house for his parents. And he's I think it has been now 5 to 6 years that he's working there. He's happy about his life there. Last we have Venkatesh Potluri. And he only should know that I'm taking his picture, he's gonna kill me, because he doesn't like, taking his name in forums. But then yes, I needed to, because he's definitely somebody who works for things. Like, example, if accessibility is not there, he will go see to that, he will raise a case saying that there's no accessibility. He's an advocate, I mean, advocate for people to install accessibility, to make infrastructure accessible. So he is a co-founder of iSTEM. And if you ever get to contact him, please do talk to him. And I'm sure it will be a great conversation. And on this note, I would like to say that my next slide, there's nothing more beautiful in the world, more beautiful than making life beautiful for somebody. Imagine somebody who never had a job, who gave up on life. First thing is, it's not in their hands that they lost their eyesight. It could be from their birth, or it could be they became late blind. It's not in their hands, it's certainly not in their hands. But uh, to top it all, it's a struggle right from education. Go to an inclusive school, a mainstream school. People say, okay, we don't want to give you admission here, please go to a special school. Why should one go to a special school when the government of India says, there is right to education act, that no child will be denied admission? Why should they struggle? And okay, once they are admitted in the school, then the next stage is accessing the books. The printed books are not accessible. So they either have to get audio books or braille books, which are, only a few organizations are making it ready. And it's mostly available in urban or maximum like towns. But what about rural areas? They seldom have access to these books. Then they finish their education somehow, and then they try to get employment. So what happens there, when they're looking for employment, is like, oh, I don't want to struggle anymore, so just let me go for a government job, because I can say that I'm not going to get a private sector job. This is the most of the people's mindset, because they're like, I may not get a private job. So that is the reason why, like, I personally feel like, we have seen so many employers that we come across. They never hired a visually impaired before, but then after understanding how they work, they have actually hired. And they are so happy today that, oh, we are happy that we have hired this person, because this person is doing so well. And one such employer will be joining us as a panel member. I'm sure you all will get to hear his side of the story. So, on that note, I would like to conclude my presentation. And I request Vinay to please play a video. The video is called Ability and Inclusion. It is audio described. So you will be listening to client testimonies, and you will, yeah. Yes,
Speech
Vinay.
mode B. Speech mode talk. Placement of persons. Mail Aishwarya Tulsi Outlook. Meeting controls with mute. Currently audio set. Start video. Video setting. Security drop. Open more options for participants drop down button.
This video is audio described for the benefit of persons with vision impairment. LVPEI Institute's logo appears. Title appears: Ability and Inclusion. Text appears: Meaningful employment is a doorway to independence for persons with disabilities.
Hi everyone, this is Karthik. I work as a technical consulting engineer for Cisco Systems.
Hi, this is Ramakrishna, working as an IT instructor at Institute for Vision Rehabilitation in LVPEI Institute, Hyderabad.
Namaste. My name is Ramalakshmi. I am working as a customer sales executive at Essentia InfoServe Private Limited.
Hi, this is Arul, working as a senior accessibility test engineer in JP Morgan.
Hi, my name is Rajeshwari. I'm working in Big Bazaar stores as a sales associate.
Hi, my name is Kishan and I'm working with Bank as a relationship manager for the past 4.5 years.
Text appears: They faced challenges to get to where they are today.
The challenges that I faced right from application of the jobs, the portals were not accessible back then. The recruiters were not sensitized towards the vision impairment. After the recruitment, the fellow colleagues were not sensitized with the vision impairment.
Most of the employees are not aware about the talent or capabilities which are there with visual impairment.
I applied for many jobs, wishing that I should be independent and not be dependent on others. But all the employers told me that since my eyesight is bad, I am not suitable for any job.
First one is lack of awareness with the employer, how a visually impaired person can work on the computer. And the second, a lack of awareness of assistive technology which are available in the market. And final most, there is no proper infrastructure to accommodate a visually impaired person.
You have low vision. And what work will you be able to do here? Please leave, as we don't have jobs for people like you. These are the things they told me.
It's quite hard for persons with visual impairment to get absorbed in the industry. And it's primarily because of two reasons. One, the lack of awareness about assistive technology, and two, the stigma associated with having a disability.
Text appears: Despite everything, they carry out their work on par with others.
I do pick the service requests coming from the customers with the issues that they face in terms of the routers, switches, and its components. Initially, I troubleshoot whether it is a software related issue or a hardware related issue.
Here we train about the screen readers and screen magnifiers, which are accessible features available in computers.
I call up the customers and explain to them about our products. I then take their information, share with them about suitable plans, and finally make the sale.
I attend to customers and clarify their doubts. I check and let them know the cost of the products if necessary. I also arrange the floor, pick up and hand over the products for online delivery.
Text appears: They have achieved big and are recognized for their dedication.
Based on the efforts that I put, definitely there were certain recognitions in terms of promoting me to different teams towards the interest that I have.
So I got many appreciation from the management, colleagues and the students. I also got Employee of the Month award in this year.
Right in the first month itself, I have done 2 annual sales to a customer. My management told me that they didn't expect any sales from me for 3 months, but that I have reached their target so well.
Observing me for 2 months, my store manager was impressed and appreciated that I am doing a very good job and asked me to continue the same way.
I have been considered a model employee at my workplace because of the work ethic and sincerity I have displayed using workplace accommodations.
I received 2 times Best Team Player and 2 times Best Performer of the Year, and appreciation from my manager and co-workers.
Text appears. How important is employment to them?
Employment would give an independent life for a person who is visually challenged. It also creates awareness among the organization.
Employment is significant in one's life. There is value for us in the society when we are independent. But people look down upon us when we are unemployed.
Employment is essential for those with vision impairment, and they have the desire to work and live with dignity in the society. So we have to prove ourselves and stand on our own feet.
Text appears. Transform lives reflect success stories.
I am happy that I am being independent, working for the business, making an impact towards the growth of the organization. It also allows me to think beyond my limits.
Now I am very happy with this work, what I am doing here.
I am so happy that I am not dependent on others. I may not have a high income, but it is sufficient for my needs, and I am financially independent.
I am confident enough to face new challenges, and I am financially independent. So finally I have a voice within my family and society.
I'm very much pleased and happy that I'm working, so much so that sometimes I also feel, why am I at home during the weekends?
It's a great feeling to be financially independent and a contributing member of the society. I would urge everyone to pursue a career in a field of your choosing, and do not shy away from seeking workplace accommodations, and spread awareness about assistive technology. Thank you and all the best.
Text appears. Many unemployed with disabilities are waiting to mirror these voices. Are you willing to take that one step? Are you willing to believe in their abilities? Join us in making workplaces inclusive. Institute for Vision Rehabilitation. The video concludes with a credit to the background score music. Copyright LVPEI Institute. Thank you, Vinay. Thank you so much. Without any further ado, I would like to start our panel discussion. I'm very excited about this, about the panelists that are going to join us here today. I would first like to invite them, and then we will start the discussion. So first we have on stage Mr. George Abraham. He's the CEO of SCO Foundation, New Delhi. Mr. Abraham. Are you able to hear us?
Yes, of course.
Yes. Nice to have you here, Mr. Abraham. Thank you so much. And we'll be I'll just introduce and we can start the questions. Next we have is Mr. Mohammad Jilan. He's managing operations, Essentia InfoServe.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, good afternoon. So then next we have Ms. Sadaf Khan. She is a recruitment senior analyst. She's working for a global tech firm. Sadaf? Sadaf, we can't hear you. Okay, while you're joining in, Sadaf, I'll introduce other people, and then you can let us know whenever you are in. Next, we also have Mr. Abhishek Kumar Singh. He's annotation analyst, AI, Apple. Abhishek, you're there with us?
Hi, Aishwarya.
Hi, Abhishek. Nice to have you here. And then we also have Mr. Satish Kumar. He is a senior accessibility engineer for Optimum Technologies. Satish, you there? You may have to unmute yourself. Okay, I'll also introduce another panelist, and then I'll check with Satish and Sadaf. We have a last panelist for the day, Miss Shravya Kaniti. She is a senior business executive consultant, Wells Fargo.
Hi, Aishwarya. Nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks, Shravya. Thank you, all of you, for joining in. I just want to confirm if Sadaf and Satish have joined us.
Hey, am I audible now?
Yes, Sadaf, you are audible.
I also wanted to just check if somebody could guide me if my video is clear, and if not, please feel free to direct.
Yeah. Vinay, can you please tell if our video is okay?
Can you move little down, Divya, little bit? No, I mean opposite. That's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Vinay. Satish, we'll start it, and please do join us. I mean, yeah, thank you. So my first question is for Mr. Jeelan from Essentia InfoServe. So Mr. Jeelan, once again, welcome to the stage. So you have tell us about. Did you know about inclusive hiring before? Like, I know that I would like to introduce saying that Mr. Zealand has one of our employees clients there who has visual impairment, and before he tells us about her, yeah, Mr. Zealand, if you can tell us, like, did you know about inclusive hiring before?
Hi everyone. Inclusive hiring, I think we have been we have one employee from LVPEI, one visually impaired lady with us. It's been 1 year she's working in our organization. Before that, I don't have any idea about this inclusive hiring and everything. Later, I think I got in touch with Karapaya sir, and that's how we picked up. We tried hiring many people, but see, sometimes it went well. I think sometimes I think it was here and there, because we are into completely out and out sales. We do like our subscription sales of India Mart. We based out of Hyderabad, and we work for India Mart actually. So I mean, mix and match का skill थोड़ा difference होता है यहाँ पे. इसलिए I think we stopped at 1-2 hirings only. We have one. I mean, Lakshmi was a girl. Still, she's working with us. It's been a year. Almost July 21st, she has joined. I think till now she's working in our organization. Now she's on a senior level.
Okay. So what were your thoughts, Mr. Zealand, like when Mr. Karpaya came to you and said, oh, okay, we have a person with visual impairment. Would you like to hire her? Could you share with us what are the thoughts?
I think Karpaya sir has shared me, good number of profiles with us. Mm-hmm. We have tried this earlier as well, but it didn't work out initially because I have a different project which was work from home at that time. It was a tech company called Practically. We have tried hiring one girl from LVPEI, but placed it there. It worked out well for 3-4 months. Later, it was very hard to go through it. We tried, upskilling the agent. I think it was successful also. Later, but we had to shut down the process, so we shut it down. Later, we hired Lakshmi for India Mart process. Initially, I thought it was very difficult. We had a lot of challenges because people with disability has to be taken care in. We have to take care of them in terms of training, in terms of employee engagement. We have to make sure that they are comfortable enough, to work at the organization level, because there would be other employees as well. There might be differences as well. People treat it differently, right? So that's the society it is. So we had initial issues, but I think later on we structured our HR team so that it has to be comfortable for all the employees. That's how we structured up, and I don't have any problem right now. I was very happy to employ to create an employment for visually impaired people. There's no point. I think there's no negatives here. थोड़ा initially effort ज़्यादा लगता है. I think agar if normal person would take at half 15-20 days training, this would be a week more training. But I think results are very good. I'm personally telling you, I have very good results of it.
Thanks, Mr. Zealand. Thank you so much for that. And I will now pull in Mr. Abraham here. So, Mr. Abraham, share with us your experience, in promoting the independent living of visually impaired people has been vast. So, share with us, what are the changes that are required to enable hiring of people with visual impairment. And I also know that you keep conducting talk shows where you keep talking to employees with visual impairment, employers with visual impairment. So what are your thoughts on this, Mr. George?
Yeah, I think, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I think one of the things you said in your presentation was about independent mobility. I think that is a big load off the employer, because moment you know that the employee can come on his or her own to the office and go back independently, I think that's a big load off the employer. And within the organization also, I guess it's a matter of orientation, and that also can be overcome in a week to 10 days, depending on the kind of setup you're working in. If it is multi-building setup, you might take a little longer, but I think it's a question of just orientation. I think the more important challenge is to do with attitude, to do with motivation. A lot of people I've met who've got into the private sector are still kind of on the side looking out for government jobs. That's a phenomenon which is very widespread. So I have a feeling that the people are not totally committed to doing their private sector jobs. Now, this might not be true across the board, but this is definitely true to a large extent. People are looking at this, and so the commitment to the job is kind of is half-hearted. To actually work in a company, I think you need to be totally committed. You need to get totally involved. I think you need to be prepared to know more about the kind of tasks that you're given. So I think this attitude is very critical. Secondly, you need to be also motivated that yes, I'm getting in today, or I might get in tomorrow, and I need to climb the ladder up in the professional scheme of things. The third thing is, I think the being equipped and excel with your technology, whether it is computers, whether it is the smartphone, because these are the lifelines that you get into the company with. And I think you also need to be equipped with good communication skills, because on the job you might be required to communicate. You also, in any case, need to be able to communicate with your colleagues and with your seniors and with your HR team to resolve challenges that you might face on the job. Because in most companies that you go into, the technological infrastructure, the IT infrastructure might not be accessible, or it might be partially accessible. And I think it's important for you to be able to engage with your employers to actually tell them what actually is the problem, and try to resolve it. And I think, I've also, before I came to the social sector, for about 10 years, I was in the advertising industry. And one thing I realized was that the employers and your team needs to be all the time aware that you are excited about your job, you're very positive, you don't say no, you take up responsibility, you're dependable, you deliver, you don't make excuses for not completing your job. So I think there's, apart from mobility and technological skills, I think your attitude is very critical.
Absolutely. Those are great points that you have raised, Mr. Abraham. Thank you so much. I'm going to come back to you. Let me just bring Shravya in. Shravya, so I want your opinion about how important is infrastructure accessibility, and what do you think is like how, what is the importance given to it currently, if you could share with us?
Sure. So it's important for more than one reasons, right? The first thing is, I think now, even as per law, I think buildings are supposed to be designed in a certain way so that people with all kinds of disability can access it, right? So and buildings are being audited too. In fact, my organization has gone through a massive audit last year, and changes are being made. So I think there are some regulations that we need to comply with on a very, very external level. That's one reason. Second, more importantly, what I think is, while we are all speaking about hiring, um, often what is, what misses in a lot of the organizations, and I've been in a couple of organizations so far, is that there is less emphasis on inclusion. There is, of course, a lot of, now that diversity and inclusion have become almost buzzwords in the recent past. There is a lot of emphasis on diversity, meaning like hiring, etc., but inclusion, meaning how well are the employees integrated into the system, and that includes how are you designed infrastructurally, where are your buildings, are there tactile paths or not, how is an employee going to figure out which meeting room they're getting into. A lot of these things, they need to be, at least an effort needs to be made to sort of make it accessible to the employees, right? And also inclusion also means sensitization. How sensitized are the colleagues? I have been in situations where I felt utterly isolated. And it's not at all a good feeling to have. It can really cause, a lot of mental scars. If it can be very, very, mentally damaging for a lot of people. So all of these reasons, it's very, very important that we make the infrastructure technological and physical. In fact, I've been in organizations where I can't even apply leaves on my own. I will need to take somebody else's help. Forget about applying leaves, right? Even reading pay slips is very difficult. And pay slips, we know, are extremely confidential information, and we can't ask a colleague to read them. So you have to come home, ask maybe your parent or someone who's living with you to sort of read it. And it shouldn't have to be this way, right? So if you ask me, maybe forget about 10 years, right? Even like from 4-5 years ago, is there a change? Yes. But to be honest, it's at a snail's pace, right? Because there's still a long, long way to go. And I mean, there's of course what's really interesting and what's really heartening is that employers are making an effort to understand and make themselves aware of what the potential needs of a person with disability could be. But I think where we are missing out on is the action, right? We are now slowly understanding the concept of inclusive hiring, what happens, how to hire, what roles do we hire them for, etc. But now we need to slowly move into action and try and see how seamlessly can we integrate them into the workforce. I think that's the missing piece here, as much as my experience goes.
Yeah, well said, Shravya. Thanks for that. I mean, I want to add, and also this could be an open question to all of you. Sometimes when I looked up for companies abroad, and especially the developed countries, UK and US, Australia. So when we go to their career page, they have this statement saying that this is an equal opportunity to all. The hiring is based on equal opportunity to all, and regardless of like example, simple thing, why only companies are opening job opportunities for people who are doing accessibility testing? Why not other leadership roles? So these are the things to ponder upon. And I'm really hopeful that one day we'll get to a stage where we are like, we can go to any company and apply for any job. So thanks, Shravya. I just want to tell the participants that Shravya has kindly accepted the invitation, and she has another engagement now. So Shravya,
Yeah.
thank you so much for joining it. It was really great.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
thanks
you.
a lot.
Just like, I mean, thanks for doing this, Aishwarya. Thanks for having me here. I wish I could participate in the discussion longer and contribute more, but all the best. And I hope we get really enriching and good insights from this discussion. Thank you.
Thanks, Shravya. Take care. I'd like to move on to another panelist now, Ms. Sadaf. The question is for you now. So, Sadaf, you have visual impairment, and you are also a HR. What a combo, Sadaf. So it's like killer combo. So tell us, Sadaf, so as a person with visual impairment, what are the challenges? Like, of course, we had the video where people share their challenges, but in general, like, what are the challenges that people with visual impairment face? What sort of things they get to hear when they're looking for employment? That is my first question to you. I will ask you the next after this.
Sure, Aishwarya. Firstly, thanks for having me. And about the challenges, well, the major challenge I would say is, the attitude. Now, a lot of people, like Shravya was mentioning, have geared up and are all set for hiring persons with disabilities. However, unfortunately, a lot of companies are doing these campaigns hiring persons with disabilities without even identifying a role that they might fit into. So their role is identified only when they join the company, right? And then their growth is not as what it should have been. So I think that is one of the challenges and then obviously the person who joins the company is not very happy about him or her abilities being used to the core. Another thing is accessibility in terms of not just infrastructure, but also about openness of the attitude of the employer. While the global firms are all set and all positive about hiring persons with disabilities, a lot of smaller firms are still not there. To talk about my own experience, and the situation has really improved, but still today, I think a lot of smaller companies are not open for hiring persons with disabilities because of the fact that they think they are not suitable to provide the infrastructure that makes the employee feel at home, right? And not just that, even after joining the company, the role of the employer does not end there, right? We need a lot of support in maybe the initial stage right now, right? In terms of getting settled in. Sometimes the hiring process in itself is not accessible. The hiring platform in itself is not accessible, right? Moreover, a lot of people have reached out to me stating the job hunting platforms are not accessible. So now, not just getting into the company is a challenge, but even searching a job is a challenge because the platforms are not accessible. And so the option that a lot of people have is to stay limited either to a platform which is 100% accessible, or to reach out to a vendor or a consultancy firm that hires, that is specifically helping in the hiring of persons with disabilities. We have those vendors, right? Enable India, Youth for Jobs, like you were mentioning, Aishwarya. So all of these things really add up to a demotivation for a lot of people, which then gets into a trend of hunting only for a public sector job, which also causes some kind of insecurity in the candidate, because if there are so many challenges right now, what then? Right. And after joining the firm, the challenges don't end. It's like, even if I change a company tomorrow, I will have to start afresh. And like somebody was mentioning, actually George sir was mentioning, right, that there are certain attitudes or certain biases that are there in the employer's mind, and hence you may be required to step a little forward and take more responsibilities in order to prove yourself. I'm not saying that somebody who's not a person with disability will not be proving themselves and will not be having this stage where they are assessed, but for us, I think it's also the disability factor, and so there are more eyes on us in terms of how well I'm performing, and and that is very important. That stage is very important for your growth in the organization.
Absolutely, Sadaf. Sadaf, I have another question for you. See, now you shared, your opinion as a person with visual impairment, and you are an employee with visual impairment. You are also a HR. So, can you share with us where does the gap lie? See, I'm not completely to say that, oh no, these people are not giving us jobs, but I think the community at large also lacks something. So where should the balance be, and where is the gap? So that, what do you think of this?
Sure, and I think thanks for asking this question, Ishwarya. I think this is a very important one. Okay, to give you another sense, I also work in the D&I space of my organization. So I also manage inclusive hiring agenda of the company that I work in. And what I have observed is, that there are two sets of individuals. One is somebody who's very much outgoing, learning, improvising themselves, open to feedback, and constantly agile in terms of not just developing their skills, but also in terms of taking up responsibility and are accountable. These are the kind of people that organizations are open to hire and are willing to, provide more support when in terms of learning, in terms of growth opportunities, right? However, there are other sets of individuals who are kind of very casual about their career. And why do I say casual is because a lot of times I have to really go behind somebody to, hey, you've not given your document, I have to roll out your offer. Well, that's not what I am supposed to do, right? I mean, you have been selected, you are responsible to complete the process so that your offer gets rolled out on time. And so this is not the kind of attitude. I have come across a lot of project managers coming back to me saying, the candidate is the employee because this person has already joined. The person is not at all reachable. He is not joining the calls. He is completely away and he is not approachable. So then the employer has to invest time in terms of identifying what is the gap and why is the employee not, willing to work. So the attitude is not correct, Aishwarya. Moreover, a lot of, like George sir was saying, right, a lot of candidates I have come across, their communication skills are not that great. Now, we have a program where we believe in hiring and then training them wherever there's a gap, but the willingness has to come from the employee, right? There is a sort of attitude where also people end up asking for help. Of course, they are helped out, but also the fact that if your co-employees or your colleagues are helping you out, also that give and take kind of a relationship, right? I am leading a team in my organization right now, and I have a lot of resources available for me to help me wherever possible. But whether I'm available to help them in their growth, right? That is something missing, Aishwarya. Now, when it comes to employers, I think the openness to provide the opportunity, because a lot of employers are, given, I see a lot of employers opening up roles, the support roles, where not much niche skills are required. So you are in a way saying that niche skills are not applicable for persons with disabilities, especially blind individuals, right? That is the set of attitude that has to be done off with.
Correct. Thanks, Sadav. That was a great insight to this, and I'm sure, like our employers who are here, and also the people, our participants with visual impairment, they will think about what you just said. Meanwhile, I'd like to ask. I'd like to invite our other speaker here. Is Satish with us?
Yes.
Hi, Satish. So, Satish, I wanted to ask you about, many employers are not aware of web accessibility and things like that. And you have had so many years of experience in accessibility and making applications and softwares accessible. So, could you tell us, like, how important it is for companies to make these things accessible? Like Shravya answered about the infrastructure accessibility. So, could you tell us about it?
Start with just one quote. I don't know who said it. I read somewhere. So this person says that the community of disability is the most minor community where anybody can join anytime. So I hope that makes a lot of sense to the employers as well as people who are advocating for disability rights and all that, because see, this is not a group in the first place that is kind of living in its own island, because anybody can join this group because of age, because of accidents, because of any other illnesses and so on. So now when you so I would say that hiring people with disabilities or giving them accessibility is something, if we think that we are doing some favor to them by doing so, I would say that's that. So number one. And number two, so why accessibility is important in the first place is, so one is you're increasing the productivity of an employee. Doesn't matter whether the person is visually impaired or not. Say, for example, a person, I remember in one of the panel discussions in a Global Accessibility Awareness Day event at our company, this person said suddenly, she had some eye infection, and for 3-4 weeks, she could not look at her screen. Now that's a temporary disability for someone. Now, for that person, imagine that this person has to use probably a Zoom feature or probably a screen reader for a time being. Now, you can't ask this person, okay, so for 4 weeks you can go off on PTO. That's not the productivity that you expect as an employer. So that's important. So it's not just about hiring a set of people and giving them access to different systems. So accessibility has become important because anyone, even the CEO of the company, can face the same problem at a given point, or the shareholder of the company can face the same problem at a given point. That's first thing. That's second. And third is, I would say that, so a lot of people talked about, in the panel discussion, many said like, the peer interaction, people are going to help and all that. And one, I think Shravya, somebody said that they were not able to read even the payslips and things like that. So the third point is it decreases the dependencies, first of all. Whatever work I can do, I will do. Whatever work I may need some assistance, I will ask my colleagues to help me out with that assistance. And whatever work they want my help, if I can understand and explain to them, if the system is accessible, wherein obviously, see, job is at the end of the day not about disability, it's about the skills, and skills reside in your brain. I quite disagree with the skills that when employers say that you are a blind person, you cannot do. So I quite disagree with that particular statement. So it's at the end of the day, it's about analytical skills or your critical thinking.
Your microphone is unmuted. Double tap to stop speaking.
I request the participants to please mute yourself. Thank you.
Yeah.
Please, Satish.
Yeah, so it decreases the dependencies, and you can also help your peers, your teammates, to understand their problems and explain to them, which I have done so far. In these many years, I've trained so many sighted folks on accessibility. I've talked to developers only because I was able to go through the code HTML.
Switch to gallery video. Your microphone is unmuted. Double tap to stop speaking.
I request the backend team to please mute that particular participant. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, Satish,
So,
sorry.
yeah, as I said, right? So I have helped several developers. I've interacted. I've done consulting. I've done coaching with people on accessibility. But how I was able to do is only because, or how I am able to do is only because the developer tool is accessible. I'm able to read the code and I'm able to find out this is where the error is. So if it is not accessible, I may not be able to do that. And it's the same story. If my employer wants me to upload all the documents, okay, if you're not choosing the right payroll partner, your recruitment partners who provide systems that are accessible, then obviously there will be a delay, there will be dependencies, there will be
Audio submit. Mute my audio.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yes, Satish, yes.
Yeah. So as I said, yeah, sorry. Yeah. So as I said, when you, because I have experienced the same thing in most of the companies where I worked. Obviously, small companies, they do take care of things physically. But in larger companies where we have to upload documents, many portals are not accessible. And what we have done in our current assignment is that we have talked to the human resources team. We have given them approaches to make, first of all, the emails accessible. We have also provided. Availed ourselves for doing audits on the payroll system, which was not at all accessible, and we are collaborating with them. So these are some efforts that we are doing. Unless we do this, there is no point in we saying that we are an equal opportunity employer. That statement goes to the negative scaling if we don't implement accessibility across the organization.
Totally agree with you, Satish, and I also feel that strongly feel that it's not just the companies. See, I feel that the companies may not be aware, but it is also the responsibility of employees who have visual impairment or just any disability to make the company aware if they are not, to advocate for themselves rather than keeping quiet. Oh, this is not happening. This is the way it is. So only when you tell it out, that is when they will look into your matter, and if not now, maybe tomorrow, or there could be a change. On that note, I would like to bring in Abhishek here. Hi, Abhishek. Abhishek, you're there with us?
Hi, Ashwarya.
Yes, Abhishek. So Abhishek, I'd like to give a background. So he had come here for his computer training, and he had like wonderful communication skills and qualification, everything. So Abhishek, although he had both skills and qualification and all, it took so many years for you to find a job. And I remember, you would always stay in touch with the placement officer and go for interviews, but you never gave up. Some people tend to give up, like, oh, it's not happening. So what would you like to share on that note? Like, should you keep pursuing it, or should you just give it up? And tell us about your new job.
Hello, everyone. This is Abhishek. I am basically from Kolkata, currently residing at Bangalore and working at Apple India as an annotation analyst in the profile of AIML. I am suffering from congenital glaucoma by birth, and in the year 2017, I was already facing a new challenge by birth, and I have completed all my academics studying in the normal school without any going to the special school for the visually impaired people or blind school, whatever. I studied with normal people only and competed with them. So in 2017, a new challenge came up for me that everything in front of me appears to be very blurring, and that was the time I realized that I am losing my existing vision also. So for a while, I was very depressed that what will happen in future, whether I will get a job or I will completely become totally blind. So then and there, I went to LV Prasad. I was under treatment of Dr. Anil Kumar Mandal past 15 years. So in 2017, again, I came to LV Prasad, and one best thing which he suggested me, apart from suggesting medicine, that you go for some vocational courses which will help you to do any kind of job, any kind of work with your existing vision, and you will be independent. You will not be dependent on others. And then and there, I came in touch with rehab team of LV Prasad, and it's very appreciating that they are working hard enough to provide job to differently able persons so that they can also stand in their life independently. And then and there, I started learning screen reading course in NVDA and JAWS. And the dedicated trainers, Mohan Kumar and Ramakrishna, are very dedicated trainers, no doubt. So actually, I'm a commerce graduate. I have completed my graduation from commerce background, and after completing my graduation, I started preparing for competitive examination. So here the question arises: after completing graduation, why I started for competitive examination? Because the one thing which came in my mind that I am a visually impaired person. So in corporate sector, in private sector, company may not hire me, and I have faced this kind of issues. I went for interviews, and then after clearing two rounds, in the final round, HR told me actually there was a board where some words was written to check the accent of the candidate. Then I requested the HR to give me to allow me to come close to the board, as I was unable to see. Then I will read the words. So she told, okay, fine, you can come close to the board and read out the words. Then after I completed my part, for a while she thought something and then told, sorry, Abhishek, we will not be able to hire you. Then I asked, okay, it's fine. Can you please justify me why you are not hiring me? Then she told, we are normal sighted person. We are working here for 9 hours, and sometimes we feel stress in our eyes. So being a visually impaired people, how can you manage working 9 hours? Then I told her that until and unless you will give me an opportunity, then how can I prove my ability? Then she told, okay, sorry, we will not be able to hire you. Thank you. So then it came in my mind that if it will go in this way, then in future no company will hire me, especially in the corporate sector. So then I changed my mind and started preparing for IBPS, SSC, and other examination. And trust me, I gave, I think, near about 4 years with full dedications. I cracked SBI PO prelims, mains, and then sit for interview also. But I can say that it was my bad luck or unfortunate. I didn't clear the interview, and some other exams also like SSC CGL, SSC combined higher secondary level, and RRB NTPC. So in this year only, Apple came up with a vacancy for annotation analyst in the profile of AIML, and I applied for this particular job, and luckily I got and I got this job. So from my journey, one thing which I understand that if a person has a hope, if a person, because I still remember in the at the time of interview, while HR was interviewing me in Apple company, she asked me that you have faced many rejections in your life. You have faced many rejections in your life, but still you have not given up. That what's the reason behind? So I told her ki if I will give up within the next moment, I will not be able to do anything. It's my willpower. It's my willpower which motivates me, motivates me to do to carry this way, to pursue this way.
Thanks, Abhishek. That's a wonderful note to air, thing that you shared. Motivation, not giving up is so important because when I counsel so many people, they tend to give up, but giving up And being determined, being determined is such an important thing. It is where it will, it surely fetches to your destination. Thanks for sharing that. I would like to ask one last question to Mr. Abraham, and then we can open the Q&A round. So Mr. Abraham, in your show, like Highway Conversations, like you have come across, you have spoken to so many employees who are with visual impairment. So can you share with us, like, what are their background? Like, if you can just say, share their designation, and how well they are doing, and why were they on your show, if you could share with us.
Well, I might not remember off the top of my head the exact designations of the various people who have been on my show, but I would probably name them and kind of describe what they do. Like one of my guests is on this program, on this discussion, Sadaf Khan, wonderful young lady, and you heard her during the panel discussion. I think that's ample evidence of who she is. There's another gentleman, Khedekar, who works with Wipro. He started his career with Reliance, and then he was very interested in the environment, so he went to the UK for further studies. Incidentally, Ekinath Khedekar comes from a very, very humble background. Meaning he comes from the slums of Mumbai, from a tribal community. He lost his father when he was very young. His mother was uneducated, but she recognized the value of education, and so she made sure that he went to school, and he realized very early in life the need for communication, the need for good English language skills. He also realized the need for good qualifications. He's an MBA, and then he joined Reliance, and then he went to the UK, did a program in environmental studies, and then came back, continued with Reliance, and now moves. He's got a global position with Wipro. He also, in the meanwhile, launched tennis for the blind in India. So incredible young man. Recently, I interviewed another entrepreneur who's an Indian American, who grew up in the US. Again, lost his eyesight. He's an entrepreneur. He has started his own company, which is into addressing the area of digital accessibility in the corporate world. Of course, another gentleman who was on my show is a citizen of Hyderabad, who's now in the US. Kiran Kaja, he is working with Google, I think at the moment. Then, I think these are a few people from the corporate world, and then there are people from other spaces. There is a very interesting gentleman called Jim Stovall, whom I spoke to, who is an author, who is a film producer, who is, then there's an Anand Kulkarni from Bombay, who is a filmmaker, again, visually impaired, but he runs a company called Flop Films. But what I find in all these people is that they're all self-driven people and very ambitious. They have dreams and they go after it. And I think that is very critical. And one serious damage that our system does to a lot of visually impaired people is providing a very poor quality of education. Most blind people in India, unfortunately, are exposed to very, very compromised education system. Meaning the simple thing is, you can't do something, it's difficult, then don't do it, we'll give you a compromise. So I think it's very, very critical that education quality be improved, and education needs to be delivered with a conviction that yes, we are catering to a potential human resource. The young blind person who is being educated will be a corporate employee or a public sector employee or an entrepreneur who is going to contribute to the Indian economy. And if that is the attitude with which you actually invest in education, you would find that the quality of education would straight away improve. The attitude of the teachers who teach the blind would improve, it would change, because they'll become more accountable because they realize that they're not educating parasites, but they are educating people who are going to kind of contribute to the economy. So I think there is a major issue with attitude. There is a major issue with which disability is understood and recognized in the country. We are so obsessed with the disability that we forget that he's a human being with talent and ability. As Satish very rightly said, the mind is very powerful, and if you're not going to kind of invest in developing of that mind, you're losing out on valuable human resource. And I think that is something which I've realized over the years. The other thing which I would like to say is that companies who hire, it should not be just a compartmentalized operation where they say, okay, we are hiring. I think when you hire, I think you need to be holistically committed to disability, in the sense that the entire systems, the entire processes, and the services and products that you make also need to be disability friendly or accessible. Your procurement should, when you procure software or procure material, various things for the company, in terms of infrastructure, as well as in terms of material for, for the services or the products you're offering, you need to insist that they're all accessible. You're investing in a attendance system. You got to insist that it is accessible. You're looking at an accounting system. You have to insist that you invest in an accessible accounting system. So the commitment to disability by a corporate should not be restricted to just hiring. It has to be 360 degrees. And unfortunately, it is restricted to hiring, and therefore, even if people get in, many people struggle.
Thank you so much for that holistic perspective, Mr. George. I totally agree with you. And just one question: if Mr. Zeelan is here, is he still there? Okay, so we have 4 panelists on the stage right now. So anybody from the audience, you can unmute yourselves so you can ask them questions. We have Sadaf Khan, we have Mr. George Abraham, we have Mr. Satish Kumar, and Abhishek Kumar Singh. So if you have any questions, audience, you can ask in your language as well. It can be translated, so that's not a problem. If any employers, if you'd like to ask any question, please, you can.
Hello, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, yes.
Ma'am, good morning. Ma'am, actually, I want to ask to Sadaf, ma'am. Ma'am, like you said, you are leading a team in your company. So, ma'am, can you explain me how we can participate with our colleagues and how you manage leading a team?
Sure. So, may I know your name?
Bhavishya.
Thanks for asking that question, Harish. I think it comes naturally, Harish, when you have an environment where you are having a relationship with your colleagues in terms of give and take. Right now, I am leading a team, but I'm also a friend to them. When it comes to business, when it comes to doing the job, I'm the lead. When it comes to normal conversations, it is not, just being friends with them. I think if you talk to me, ask me about, how do you manage them and what are the tasks that you do? It is right from training them. So I have one-on-one conversations with them every morning, taking their updates in terms of how they are growing in terms of their skills, suggesting them trainings, enabling them with whatever skills they're lacking, and also correcting them. So it's a journey that you as a person, go through with the employee that you're leading, right? So it's right from enabling them with the skills that you want them to grow in, and to also ensure that the job is done correctly. So supervising their work, if there is any miss that is happening, it's literally involves micromanaging sometimes with somebody who's a fresher, looking at all the emails that they're sending across, supervising the emails that they send across, because once they do write to your seniors, I have to ensure that that mail goes through me first and then goes to the senior. So that is the kind of micromanagement required here when I talk about leading a team. Does that answer your question?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Thanks, Sadaf. Anybody else from the participants, if you have any questions?
Aishwarya, Satish here.
Yes, Satish.
So I would like to add to the answer that Sadaf gave.
Okay,
I mean, which
sure.
is quite interesting, because leading a team is not as simple as that. And as she said, yes, it is innate and it has to come from within. You should possess the power of taking initiatives, helping people to grow in your team and all that. So I think when what I understand is how, so you stressed upon one point in a presentation previously before we started this discussion, is that why only accessibility? Why not other fields? Okay, the main problem with that is, see, employers may not be able to identify the leadership skills or something like that, mainly because of the stigma or the societal implications that comes with people with disabilities, actually. So what I propose to many of the organizations out there is that, apart from giving them assistive technology training and probably mobility skills for people who are late blind and all that, right? I think what we need to do is partner with some good leadership institutes to, first of all, even for experienced professionals, I would say that, partner with some leadership development institute and come across with a good program for, training people on experienced professionals to get into the leadership roles. Because I remember up late, just recently I spoke to another person from a global brand, and the feedback or the thing that she said was, why people with disabilities are not in the leadership role, which is a very interesting question, I would say, because see, what I understand is, in country like India, where, as George Sir rightly pointed out, that education system is not training you as a leader. It's not just about us. I mean, even for sighted people also, it's the same story everywhere, because we are training people to be just employees. More than that, we are not training them anywhere. So I would say people who are coming, organizations should take this mantle upon themselves, particularly non-profit organizations. Like the way Enable India is giving training is something good. But I think it has to expand from there. I mean, not just one organization can train all the 2 billion people with disability. So obviously what I would say is, every organization should start looking at that, because what I understand is, one, people don't know where they can go to when they want a job, in the sense that what role they can themselves choose, because they're not clear about that. And second, I've listened to people who say, I'll start a YouTube channel and I'll probably earn money. Well, they want to save life, and I can't blame them, because they're afraid of the society. And I look disability as a social model of disability, because what makes a person make or break is the society. So at the end of the day, it's our duty, all of our duties, to make sure that young people are trained in those important human assets, so that they can be utilized in those organizations. They can climb the ladder. Thank you.
Thanks, Satish. Thank you for that. I totally agree with you. And I really hope the importance of what you said is understood. Anyone else who has questions?
Yeah, I have questions for Abhishek.
Yes,
yes. Abhishek, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, Abhishek, this is Kompally. From you said you are working with Bill as an adaptation analyst. What is your job profile? What
Yeah. Actually, sir, if you are using an Android phone, you have Google. We trigger Google by saying, "Okay, Google, call this particular person," or send a text to Mr. K, Mr. A, whatever. So similarly, Apple has a virtual assistant called Siri. So Siri can perform various tasks like sending message, getting directions to a particular place, or you can ask Siri, "Hey Siri, what's the weather today?" So this kind of task Siri performs. So basically, what we do, we have information, we have privacy information of our users.
Thanks, Abhishek. Thank you so much. That is bouncing off my head what you just said, but I know you're doing something great. Thank you. Yeah. Any more
Hello.
questions, please? Any more questions? Our employers
Yeah,
here who
they were here.
yes.
I'm still thinking of what Satish pointed out here. Satish and I know, hi George, I'm Deva. I think we met in one of the optometric conference in Delhi. So we're happy to have you here. And so, like, in spite of our information reach out through social media and spreading the word, we are really struggling hard to get the employers first. So for the minimal, for the breaking the ice, to get our students into the portal, preparing them, it's really it is not very easy to uh, tell you. So how do we take it forward? Like, I think we need some suggestions also from your side, how far we can reach, because Aishwarya and team is really struggling hard to reach the employers. Even here in this panel, I could see hardly few employers here. So can we have some suggestions from you too?
Yeah, I would think that, one of the things is that uh, looking at it from an employer's point of view, they have a vast pool from where they can actually pick people up for their jobs. And I think it takes for a very special mindset at this given time that some of the corporates are looking out for visually impaired people to work for them. But they are not, from a choice point of view, they are not really compelled to do so. And therefore, I think it's important that, looking at market forces, demand and supply, I think it's very important for us to have enough case stories or case studies where people with vision impairment have made a mark in the corporate world, and they are seen because I've noticed that there might be some great guys who've worked at, say, ICICI or Tata Steel or wherever, but when you go to Infosys, they don't even know about them. So I think there's need for awareness to be created. And I think all the organizations that are working in the space, they're all working in silos. They're doing their own thing. I think there is need for people to come together, pull in their strengths. It's a large country. The corporate world is a very large one. And if we have to make an impact, I think the limited resources with which each of us work, I think we need to pull them together, bring our strengths to the table, and then take responsibility for certain aspects and work together so that there is a combined force addressing the issue. Otherwise, we are just putting drops into the ocean, throwing single stones into the ocean. The ripples are also kind of not seen. So I think that's the only way of doing. We might come up with brilliant strategies, but if you're not prepared to work together, and we all move on our own, I think it's going to be an issue we would keep discussing every year for the next 100 years.
That's right. Thank you, George. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Do we have any more questions? If you don't have, then we can move on to a short feedback. Any more questions from the participants?
Ma'am, I have.
Yes, please. Please introduce yourself and ask the
Ma'am, this is
question.
Bhavishya Agarwal. Ma'am, actually, I want to ask, like, I am planning to enter into a software field, like software engineering and like web development. So I want to ask my panelists that how can I like work with my colleagues in that field, like, you're understanding, like, panelists, like, is the
So,
field good? Can I work in that field?
You are asking about what skills you need to learn, or I mean, how would you start off with searching a job? Like, what is your question?
I want to ask,
Anything
like,
specific?
being a visually impairment, can I like work in the, can I get a like a job thing, and can I work properly with my colleagues, participating with the colleagues in the team?
teamwork and
Okay, absolutely. I think if you have the willingness to collaborate and the ripple effect, right? If you have the willingness to collaborate and learn and so first thing is I would like to point out here one thing that a lot of us don't talk about our disabilities. In my organization, for example, we have a way where you disclose your disability so that your team gets to know that you're a person with disability, and accordingly the team will interact with you. There are a lot of ways that are processes that may be inaccessible, and accordingly help will be extended to you. There are very few people who disclose their disabilities, and we have to encourage them. So you have to be vocal about what you need, not in a demanding way, but in a requesting way, and also be vocal about helping them wherever they require. I think collaboration and working in a team is a two-way process. So once you start being open and once you start being, uh, willing to learn and also help them grow in their ways, I think that makes it easier to work in a team.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for.
Thank you, Bhavesh. Thanks, Sadaf. Keeping the time in mind, I would like to invite Ramalakshmi. She is working at Essentia InfoServe that Mr. Zealand was here. So, Ramalakshmi, you'll have like 2-3 minutes to share your feedback, and then we will conclude the program. Ramalakshmi, you're there?
Yes. Hi, ma'am. Good evening. And good evening to all. This is Lakshmi. Presently, I'm working in the Essentia. Before that, I have faced so many of challenges in my to get a job. I got so many of interviews. They told me that you are the disabled person. I have only one eye vision. They told me that you have only one eye vision. You can't work here. I have faced a lot of challenges because I in LV Prasad by my 5 years old to till now I'm the patient of LVPI. They are giving me the free treatment. One day I asked the doctor Sangwan to I need a good job for sir help. Sir helped me to in LVPI. They are the placement services is there. Sir referred to one madam. Then I went to for meet a Karpaya sir. Sir had taken all of my details. A later that sir told me to I have to attend some occasional classes. Then I have taken IT training in LVPI. After that, Karpai has searched a better job for me. It's very thankful to sir. And after that, sir to ask me to I have come if I interested to continue my studies, they will help us. This I have interested, but some of my family issues I have discontinued my education. But in LVPay, they provide me a good job. After that also they helped me for my studies also. I have completed my intermediate also. Last 2 months back I got a result. I have passed out. Coming to my present organization, in Essentia, I have started with small package, but it's 1.5 year completed. In this 1.5 year, I got my salary hike on 2 times, and I have 2-3 times I have taken best performer awards also. In this organization, particularly, I'm saying that in this organization was supported me very much, and my colleagues also supported me very well. All are very helpful to this in this organization. Finally, I'm saying that I'm very much happy to finding a job here. Is very happy here.
Thanks, Ram Lakshmi. I heard the
Thank
double
you, ma'am.
hike. I heard the
Thank you,
double
ma'am.
hike, and I'm coming for the
And
party. Okay.
once I want to tell, ma'am, and thanks to my LVPI team and my organization, Essentia team is both teams are. I'm very much thankful to each and every person. Especially Karpaya sir, Aishwarya ma'am, Pavani ma'am, Ramakrishna sir is and especially thanks to them. And my Essentia organization, I'm thanks to my most thankful to Jilan sir and my each and every one person has supported me a lot in this organization, especially management. One thing I want to tell, ma'am, if any disability person is there, it's not a defect in life. If anyone give me a startup support, they will also reach their goals in life. That's it from my side, ma'am. Thanks to everyone.
Thanks, Ramalakshmi. And we have shared the helpline numbers in our chat box. If anybody wants to contact us, the number I will also say it. It is 04068. 040 is the STD code, and the number is 68102841 or 68102842. So if you are an employer, or if you are also a person with visual impairment, if you'd like to contact us in regard to employment, we will be happy to talk with you. And I request Vinay to please also share our YouTube channel, because we upload informative videos there, and also the Facebook page link there, so that you can follow us and you'll get to know the updates. And last, I would request my colleague, Mr. Ramkumar Mohan, to please give away the vote of thanks.
Thanks, Aishwarya. It was really wonderful. Like personally for me, it's a plethora of information shared among the panelists, like everyone. So I really thank the panelists, Mr. George Abraham, Mohammed Sada Khan, Abhishek, Satish Kumar, Shravya Kanti, Mohammed, Abhishek, everyone, the audience, all like it seemed so participative and very interactive session. I hope it opens up more job opportunities and the knowledge and awareness among the employers as well as the audience. So I hope the ambitions could be reached. We'll be also sharing a survey one in that helpline. That is the chat box of anyone. I would request everyone to fill the survey and send it. Okay, really appreciative. Thank you, everyone.
So that survey is for those who are employers here, so you can fill it up. Thanks all once again, Sadaf, Satish, and Abhishek. Mr. George has left, so thank you so much. I hope all of you participants have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful weekend. With that, we sign off. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Aishwarya, for great questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.